What's going on, everybody? Today's June 7th, 2020. In the news today, we learned about the death of former NFL wide receiver Reche Caldwell, who was reportedly shot and killed in Tampa yesterday in what officials are now saying a targeted attack, and that it was not random. In this video, we're going to explore the idea that not only was it not random, but it was completely by the code of letters and numbers, otherwise known as Gematria. This code combines Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words and phrases, with dates on the calendar to create murder by numbers riddles. In this language of Gematria, the phrase ritual sacrifice has an alphabetic order value of 154. We get this number by adding the number related to each letter in the alphabet. So R is the 18th letter, I the 9th, T the 20th, and so on. If we reverse the alphabetic order, so Z is assigned 1 and A is 26, ritual sacrifice sums to 251. 251 is what we call a prime number, a number only divisible by 1 and itself. Notice how it's the 54th prime number to go along with the 154 alphabetic order gematria of ritual sacrifice. Well, earlier this year, the National Football League played Super Bowl 54. This was held on the date February 2nd, 2020. Measuring from February 2nd to the date of Reche Caldwell's death on June 6th is a span of 126 days. When we write out the number 54, it sums to 126. In this story, it's the death of a former wide receiver. Wide receiver also sums to 126 in the alphabetic order. And again, this wide receiver dying on June 6th, the span of 126 days after Super Bowl 54. This story made news today, June 7th, which is 126 days later without the end date. Using the standard reduction methods, also called Pythagorean gematria, notice how wide receiver sums to 72 in standard and reverse reduction gematria. 72 is also the gematria of Caldwell in the alphabetic order, 72. Reche Caldwell was born on the date March 28th. Measuring from that date to the news of his passing is a span of 72 days. Next, we're going to talk about the Eclipse code. And I find it pretty interesting that yesterday, on June 6th, the same date that Reche Caldwell died, I made a video talking about my observations about potential bad things that could be lining up for Donald Trump. Well, notice how Reche Caldwell's real name is Donald. In that video, I talk a lot about the number 666. In English Sumerian gematria, which is the alphabetic order times 6, the cipher that's said to reveal the number of the beast, the name Reche Caldwell equals 666. We're going to talk about this number in relation to the Eclipse code. The Earth's polar axis is on a 66.6 degree tilt to the plane of the sun. In gematria, sun and moon sums to 666. We're also going to be looking at Jewish or Latin gematria, this cipher based on the 23-letter Latin alphabet with more modern English characters placed at the end. In this method, 603 score and 6 sums to 1610 in Jewish Gematria. This also lines up with the ordinal value of Donald Reche Caldwell, 161 ordinal. Notice how this man was born on the 87th day of the year. 87 just happens to be the number that he wore for the New England Patriots during his brief stint with the team in 2006. And speaking of 6, in the reverse alphabetic order, 666 equals 87. The phrase mathematics of the circle sums to 666 in Jewish Gematria. Again, this code around the eclipses, the intersection of the two largest circles in the sky. If you multiply 6 times 6 times 6, you get a product of 216, which is the ordinal value of the same phrase. And the moon is 2,160 miles at the equatorial diameter. When we write out 666, we get this value of 2,083. This is very similar to the gematria of the moon, which sums to 283. Reche Caldwell's birthday was the 28th of March, which you can write 28/3. Furthermore, his birthday had numerology of 57, with what's called the life lesson number. 57 is the ordinal gematria of moon. The moon travels 57 degrees north and south of the equator, 28.5 degrees in each direction. And in Pythagorean gematria, Reche Caldwell equals 57. So not only does he have these myriad connections to 666 and moon, but his full name with junior included, and again, I feel like I say this every video, so many celebrities, actors, and athletes with this junior. Nobody's giving their kids original names anymore. In English gematria, which is similar to Latin, but uses the current 26-letter English alphabet, both of these methods closely mirror Hebrew gematria and Greek isopsophy, the original languages, which combined number and lettering systems. This 963 is significant. Eclipse crucifixion code sums to 963 in Latin gematria. The phrase crucifixion code equals 158. Just a few days ago, I did a post on how the crucifixion code is coded into the calendar. And if you see my blog, which is linked below, you can find this post. It's called the Eclipse Crucifixion Code in the Gregorian Calendar, and I do point out the number 158 at some point during this post. Not only does the name Reche Caldwell have 57 gematria like moon in reduction, but in the reverse alphabetic order, Reche Caldwell sums to 69 reduced. 69 is the ordinal value of eclipse 69. Eclipse, the intersection of the two largest circles in the sky, which also equals 69. But notice how eclipse equals 192 in Jewish gematria. The name Donald Caldwell equals 1092. If you write just Don Caldwell, it also sums to 192 in reverse, along with another 57. Now, if we measure from his death on June 6th to the date of the only total solar eclipse of 2020, notice how we get 192 days, or 6 months and 9 days. Again, Reche Caldwell 69. His name summing to 192 in two methods of gematria. This also makes it interesting that this man was shot and killed in Tampa. Tampa in Jewish Gematria also equals 192, just like the word eclipse in the same method. Tampa, Florida equals 53 and 73. So does solar eclipse, 53, 73. And if I'm not mistaken, shot and killed equals 53 and 73. Also 134 like solar eclipse. But what's also interesting about Tampa, Florida, is that in reverse it sums to 208. Caldwell died on the date leaving 208 days in the year. Not only is this man's death related to the one and only total solar eclipse of 2020, and this is a big year for total solar eclipses. Of course, total solar eclipse equals 202. But his death is also related to the two great American eclipses, which we are currently in between. Measuring from the first great American eclipse to the date of Donald's death was 2 years, 290 days. Now, this is very significant. The number 229 is a prime number. See here how it's the 50th prime number. Not only does his real name Donald equal 50, but Donald Caldwell equals 50 in reduction. The word circle summing to 50. And the O, the circle in the alphabet, having gematria of 50 in multiple ciphers. If we instead measure to the second great American total solar eclipse, which occurs in April of 2024, an eclipse with very significant date numerology, if you think about the year 2024, well, if you multiply 2 times 24, you get 48. And this eclipse is on 4/8. Reche Caldwell died 1,402 days before this eclipse. Using the alphabetic order, eclipse sacrifice sums to 142 and 290. Remember, dying 290 days after the anniversary of the first great American eclipse. As far as the 79 in reduction, Reche Caldwell was born in the year 79. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace, love, God bless, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya!